Well, I wasn't expecting to do a video at this time of night, during this time of day, but you never know what you're going to get hit with or what you're going to have to comment on. So I was thinking all day and for the last few days about Dan Henderson versus Jon Jones. I was so excited to see that fight, thinking about how the fight's going to go, getting ready to do a video about the fight tonight actually. And sure enough, I am doing a video tonight about this fight, because this fight and the entire UFC 151 card has been completely scrapped, because unfortunately Dan Henderson suffered a MCL ligament injury and Jon Jones turned down to fight Chael Sonnen. Now, I had a ton of different opinions on this, so I'm going to break it down into several things and then we're going to move on from there. And then I would really like to know what people who subscribe to me and people who see this think about this. First of all, the first thing I thought was Jon Jones turning down to fight Chael Sonnen. On the one hand, I can see why he would turn down the fight. On the other hand, a few days ago, he made a comment about not wanting to fight Lyoto Machida because Lyoto Machida was the least money drawing fight of all his bouts over the last year, and that did not draw him the most money. And he wants to fight in fights where there's going to be that media attention and that, that money to it. And despite the factors that Chael Sonnen, fights at middleweight, he's only gone back to light heavyweight recently. And he just is coming off a loss to Anderson Silva, and that could have been a fight he could have won, in my opinion anyways. The fact is, Sonnen is a big draw. Sonnen has a big mouth that draws money, and I guarantee you that Jon Jones would have made more money fighting Chael Sonnen than he would have fighting Lyoto Machida. It's almost like a win-win situation in some ways, in my opinion, for him. He's trained for a fight, Sonnen isn't, been in a training camp, so he's got the edge there, and he's got a lot of other skills there. And he could have won that fight, and he didn't want to take the fight because apparently someone in his camp, most notably Greg Jackson, told him that this would be a bad move. And I don't know what to think. People are going to say, oh, well, he had short notice to take a fight, and he needs more time to train. But then I think about this. There have been a ton of guys throughout the history of combat sports, MMA, who have taken fights on very short notice. I mean, wrestlers in high school compete on very short notice all the time. So in my opinion, what's the difference? Mirko Krokop fought a guy on maybe 4 days notice. Chris Lieben fought a guy on 10 days notice. Michael Bisping had been training for 6 weeks to fight Damian Maia, and then things happened, and then in the end he had to fight Chael Sonnen, and that was on very short notice. Rick Story and Charlie Brenneman fought each other on a day's notice. So to me, in a way, it kind of doesn't really add up. And then when you think about that, it's almost like this pattern with Jon Jones is emerging again and again and again. And what I mean with this pattern is Jon Jones says something that comes off as being at the expense of other people, like I'll always sign autographs, I never look down on the fans, I'll sign anything they want me to sign, but then makes a comment that he will refuse to sign replica belts and other things, saying that the people didn't earn it, which is like, what, really? There's the whole Rashad Evans situation, depending on what you think of that. Then there was the comment he made when he got the sponsorship from the UFC, and he made the comments about, the UFC even trusted me because I'm a company man and I'll never do anything to make the company look bad. And then he gets a DUI, and now you have the situation where he's turned down something that the UFC have offered him, which puts him in very bad standing within the company. Now, as a fan, how do I feel? It's the same. When a fight card gets cancelled, you get disappointed, but you get over it. And I don't feel that bad in that respect, because fight cards get cancelled all the time. And as a great man said, it's better to have several bitches, so if one plays up, you've got the other ones to take care of. Wrestling's been playing me up, UFC has been playing me up. I guess I'll go and watch some kickboxing for a little bit, or some boxing. But anyways, the fact is, it's nothing new to me, and fights getting cancelled. The people that I feel sorry for are the other fighters who were on that card, especially the lower card fighters. They're not in the same position financially as a Jon Jones. They do not earn the same money as a Jon Jones. They were probably relying on this card and the fact that this card was going to happen to pay their bills and to pay their rent and to do all of these things. And a lot of fighters have commented on this. And now the fact that the fight is cancelled, that's going to put them in kind of a tough spot depending on where they are already financially. And I really feel sorry for a guy like Jake Horror, who has had, he was going to fight Jake Ellenberger. And unfortunately, he's had situations before, like when he was supposed to fight at the Affliction show, which got cancelled because of Josh Barnett failing a testing. And he was supposed to fight Nick Diaz, and then that got cancelled. And I feel sorry for him because, he just has to wait. And I feel sorry for a lot of the fighters on the card who have been training for the last 8 to 12 weeks. Their bodies are peaked, their bodies and their minds are ready to fight, and now they kind of have to wait a while. And the kind of financial implications that has on them, I feel sorry for a lot of the fighters on there. Now, a lot of people are very divided on Jon Jones now, but I've noticed a lot of people saying, you know what, I would have taken the fight. If you're a champ, you fight whoever. We fought guys on 1 day's notice. Like Charlie Brennan said on his Twitter account, he said, look, I fought a guy on 1 day's notice. What's his excuse? And you think about it, and in a way I can kind of see where they're coming from. And again, it just doesn't make Jon Jones look particularly good. And then there are other guys that are saying, well, you don't understand the sport of MMA. And I'll make this very, very clear. Any MMA fighter that wants to say, and who even happens to see this and wants to tell me that I don't have a clue what I'm talking about in what I'm saying, I challenge you to come up to me in person, on Skype, I don't care, and I will say the exact same thing. I will tell you exactly what I am thinking, and I will give you no apology because I know what I'm talking about. I understand sports. I've competed in sports. I've competed in combat sports. I've competed in team sports. I've competed in sports where we've been given less than a few hours notice that something was going to happen and we've had to make an adjustment, but we didn't cower. We came out and we still competed. So in a way, I kind of am a bit like, really, Jon? Did you really do that? And it's going to probably make him really unpopular with the fighters on that card now because they're going to be like, well, we don't respect him anymore. And you can already see that's happening. And one of the biggest ones was Dana White. Dana White seemed more angry with Greg Jackson than he was with Jon Jones. He said a lot of things about Greg Jackson. He called him a fucking sport killer. He called him a weird man that doesn't roam on the same planet that we roam on. He said a lot of things about Greg Jackson in that video. And it doesn't surprise me because there's been a history between Greg Jackson and Dana White. If you go back throughout all the years, Dana White has said things more about how his guys fight and how they are exciting, and then when they go to Greg Jackson's camp, they become pretty boring and they become decision fighters. So it just seems to be another chapter in the saga of Dana White versus Greg Jackson. And now from what I've been told, because I've just got a beep on my phone, that Jon is apparently going to fight Lyoto Machida now in September. And I think people are going to call shenanigans on that because they're going to say, hold on, didn't you complain about fighting him because you were not going to draw any money? Now you're in there with one of the bigger draws in the company and you refuse to fight him, but now you're going to take a fight against the guy. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see what people say about this. I'll tell you what, I have a lot of respect for MMA fighters. I have a lot of respect for fighters in combat sports and athletes in general. Listen, Jon Jones is an excellent fighter. He's a tremendous athlete. He's very exciting to watch. But I have more respect for someone like Chris Lieben. I have more respect for someone like a Chael Sonnen. I have more respect for Chris Weidman, who also offered to take the fight, by the way. I have more respect for a Dan Henderson. Even though he's hurt, I know that Dan Henderson would have tried to have done that fight. I have more respect for a lot of those guys who they say things and the behaviour matches what they're saying. I don't have respect for people who say things and then the behaviour is the polar opposite. Anyways, with that being said, let the hate begin. I don't want to see the guy get, completely crucified. I don't wish that on someone, but I would be very interested to see or hear what everyone has to say. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm really tired. It's God knows what time at night. Give us 2 seconds. So write some comments. Let me know what you think. I wouldn't be surprised now if I get more comments on a video I did a year ago about why the hate for Jon Jones, and I'll even link it in here. So write what you want, say what you want, and I look forward to hearing your comments. For those of you who haven't checked, I did a video before on Rey Mysterio possibly retiring. If you want to check that one out, that will be in the description, and that talks about pro wrestling, but I know most of the people watching this will be MMA people. But if you want to have check it out, please do, and I will get back to you later when I'm probably more coherent. Take care and have a good day. Or night, sorry.